Hello everyone and welcome back to Faithful to the Traitors, where we are discussing the Traitors Ireland Series 1, Episode 7. 7 weeks, and I can count. So
7 episodes.
That's an improvement.
You can't tell time.
Oh yeah. Well, it can't all be perfect, can we?
Look, I just noticed, there's a lot of you in the camera and not a lot of me. It's very interesting.
Is there? You have to shuffle over then, won't you?
Well, I shuffled as much as I can. There's no shuffling room left.
Right, well, what do
Hello,
you want me to
everyone.
do?
Nothing. I'm just stating, I'm just looking at the screen and I could see it, but it doesn't matter.
Well, you're the one who just directed this camera setup, so this is your fault.
Right, look, no one cares what our little domestic is going on right here. We were perfectly happy until we started doing
Sound
this.
like
No,
Ben,
you've ruined everything.
sound like Ben and Nick at breakfast, don't we?
We do. I just want to apologise to everyone for starting that argument. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Let's have a look. To get in touch with us, you can find us on our link tree, linktr.ee/faithful2. All our information is on there, including ways of finding us on YouTube, Spotify, or any of your favourite podcast apps. Please don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, or follow us. Please subscribe to us on YouTube because we're so close to 1,000. And I went to statistics, and I don't normally follow that rubbish. I don't really care about how many people and what the age demographic
what the camera
is.
looks like.
What the camera, that I do care about because people need to see this face. But I looked and I saw that our subscribers were quite high with people who subscribe to us who also watch the videos. But there's still that percentage, that little percentage that's niggling me. That's really upsetting me.
So the percentage is high, but you're upset about that?
Well, I want it to be higher.
Okay, well, you can't always get what you want.
I want it to be like a Donald Trump vote.
You have to make good content.
100%. Well, when we make good content...
people will subscribe.
I'll only make good content if we make 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching us on YouTube, or even if you don't, just subscribe to us on YouTube, please. Because I want to get to 1,000, basically. I just want to say, you know what? Hello, everyone. We're 1,000 in. And then people can be like, woohoo! And then
thank you to all of our Spotify listeners because they're way over 1,000.
But thank you to all of our TikTok followers as well. All of you are clicking us on TikTok as well on our videos. I want more of everything.
1,000 of them?
I'm greedy.
Right.
I'm a greedy little bugger. And also, please don't clip that sound, by the way. Also, if you want to help
greedy
us with the podcast, because we are... Pardon?
What?
I'm a hungry top, actually. If you want to find us, if you help us with the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful or coff.ee/faithful. And on there, you can give us £5, which is the equivalent of a wooden gold block.
Right.
Anyone who's listened to that, well, you're right there.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Squeeze.
Well, I'm trying to fit into this bad framing.
Wait, if you want to fit into frame, you need to move that way a little bit.
No, it's fine. I'm fine as I am. Thank you.
You could start again if you wanted to.
No, I don't need to. My laptop's not plugged in either. Anyway.
Oh dear, we're really in trouble here, aren't we? Anyway, let's talk about the show, shall we?
Yes, we need to.
Talk about the game.
This also might be interrupted halfway through this podcast because someone might turn up. So it's very perilous, this episode.
This is a shambles, and this is what you're here for. A shambles of a podcast.
Right, so we left last week with Paul D's dilemma of recruiting his son as a traitor, Andrew. If he says no, he's murdered. It's a blackmail, but really it's you have to be a traitor, I feel. There's only been one instance in all of the traitors where someone has gone against these rules and been like, okay, murdered.
Well, yes, but we have said in the past that, to say no isn't necessarily a bad decision because you're taking one for the team. It just means that you've got no chance of winning any money, but you'll always go down in history as being the person who said no to being recruited as a traitor. But Andrew, I think it was an easy pickings for Paul D to get Andrew in. Andrew said, what does it mean? Paul D said, well, you'll get murdered if you say no. But Andrew was like, well, then yes. And that was the end of it, really. But I think Andrew had made his decision before. It was like he had to just do that extra bit of, remind me of the rules for the TV viewers. And then Paul D would kind of say...
I think it's a bit of a shame for Andrew because he was a really good faithful.
Wow.
I feel that he wasn't made to be a traitor. He's not his dad, is he?
Well, Andrew and Paul D had a conversation about it later, after the game, before the round table, and Andrew opened up to his dad. It was a real close moment between them. It was so...
The story arc's complete.
The tea was cold. The cakes were...
Euphemism.
The cakes were solid from being out all day. But Andrew said to Paul, do you think you kind of went a bit too quick for me? I think it was a bit too soon to recruit me if you knew that, You wanted to recruit someone.
That's the words of a rookie traitor.
Well, Paul D... I don't know. I disagree.
Because Paul D has experience.
I think Andrew was right to say that. As I said in the last episode, he should have, as Andrew said himself, Nick would have been a better traitor because they could have pointed all the fingers at Nick. Nick was already on a bad footing at the beginning of this episode with Ben. Ben and Nick were constantly fighting, not each other, but the group all day, trying to convince them that what they were doing wasn't bad faithfulness. It was them trying to be good faithful. Rubs a lot of people the wrong way. Paudie kind of spoke out, which made Nick's alarm bells ring a little bit more because he said, your narrative is very similar to Andrew's. How strange. Which kind of then...
And he really picked up on them ripping the ripping motion and saying, well, I don't know why Nick picked up on that so much. It's not that odd to mimic someone around you. That's a normal human behaviour.
It was almost like rehearsed. That's what Nick was suggesting. Nick was suggesting that it had been rehearsed perhaps in the conclave the night before, that Andrew and Paudie would now have that narrative and share it with the group. That, the whole Nick ripping off the invitation to be a traitor was actually a lie, and Nick is actually a traitor.
Nick's the one who stood in front of everyone yesterday at breakfast and did it to everyone, so he's the one who planted the motion in everyone's head. So I just think it was a bit of a reach. It was a lucky guess, I think. It was a bit of a reach to guess that those two were mimicking the movement that he'd done, and it's like, well,
I don't believe Nick's influence though. As much as Nick believes in his head that he is the alpha in the group and that he was the one controlling everyone and that he's the one kind of telling everyone how to think, I don't think he is. I think Oyen, as we've discussed in the past, has got the more direct and influence.
Oyen does it quietly.
She does it quietly, which is exactly how you do it.
Doesn't put a target on herself by doing that.
The loudest ones aren't necessarily the right ones, and Oyen's doing it quietly. And she's got herself a little recruit now in Faye, main character energy, and she's happy now because she's getting a bit more camera time as well and more talks to camera. So Faye and Oyen, I think, are a much, much stronger force than Ben and Nick, though Ben and Nick believe that they're stronger force, and that will be their downfall. Typical men. Well, this is another thing that came out later on. Was it Amy? They were talking. Yes, Amy. Amy confronted Ben.
I love Amy. She's my favourite.
We love Amy and her tink. Amy's always tinking.
Tink. Oh, right, yeah.
Always tinking, Amy. But we love Amy and her tinking.
You're doing more of the Irish. Making fun of the Irish.
I'm not making fun of the Irish, sorry. Making fun of me, I stammer all the time. Do that. There you go. Make fun of me on that.
Christine also said...
well, okay. Well, I was going to say it, but if you want to say it, debt.
Pardon?
Debt row.
Debt row.
Right.
Not
Amy, listen.
Queen's English, please.
Shush. But why would they believe in the Queen? They're not part of the United Kingdom. How dare you?
Because she rules the world.
Why do you want to unite Ireland like that? Why do you want an English colonisation of Ireland to come back?
King's English, please.
Tut, tut, tut. Not the king. They don't have a king in Ireland.
Nor do I.
Well, nor do I, but... Listen, Amy confronted
Ben's my king. Carry on.
Ben was called out for his misogyny.
Yeah, by Amy.
Well done. Amy said to Ben that he presumed that because Caitlin, was the kinder sex, a female, that she would be easier. There you go. Make fun of me with that. Easily manipulated, much easier to mold.
Yeah.
And Amy was like, "How dare you? She's a very strong woman. She's a very independent thinking woman. What makes you think that?
Yeah.
What
And
makes you think that the rest of the group would be the same way? Why are you talking over me? Thank you very much. How dare you, Ben? Must be something about Ben's."
It's a podcast, love. And also the way that he was like, she sat down to talk to him and he just stood above her, like folding his arms. I was like, I don't like that either. So I was glad that Amy brought that up to Ben and told him.
Well, she was right to bring it up. She said that like you're basically trying to control all of us. You and Nick think you're puppet masters, and at first we kind of listened to you, but now our trust of you is diminishing, and also to presume that you can just control someone in that way is not right. And Amy was right to bring that up to Ben.
So good for her. Screw you, Ben and Nick.
Yeah.
Bad Ben and nasty Nick.
What's that smell? Ben and Nick entering the room. Pooey.
So when Andrew said yes to being a traitor, they then had the job of debt row.
Debt row.
Where they had to pick 4 people to be on debt row.
Yep. You really are trying to get us cancelled, aren't you?
No. No one can get cancelled anymore. Go
true.
Trump.
Go Musk. I
they
think you're
they were
fine.
clever. Oh yeah, and Musk, whoever. They were clever because this happens on lots of series of the traitors, and always the 4 that get picked, if they're a traitor or not, they get tarnished with you could be one of you 4 could be a traitor, and it never goes no matter what happens ever. So they were clever to not put Andrew or Paulie in the 4. I think,
Although they could have.
yeah, they could have, but they were clever not to, because then these 4 people now are going to forever be, you could be a traitor.
Well, and
none of these 4 are going to win.
it was even internalized, which I was a bit angry at Mark actually in today's episode, because it was even internalized by Mark that he felt like he was in a cell with 2 other traitors. Once Christine had been released and given the shield, so she's safe for murder, Mark's first thing was like, well, I'm in a cell now with 2 traitors, indicating that Joanne and Patrick both are the traitors. But then later on at the round table, Mark voted for Andrew. So Mark, if you truly believed, and also didn't bring that point up round the round table either. No one brought that up really around the round table, other than maybe Patrick being a traitor. But again, it was not necessarily because of him being in the cell. It's just that we believe he might be a traitor, and we have thought that way for a while. But yeah, no, it is a shame that like now everyone's kind of pointing fingers. I think Joanne feels a bit safe though. I think it's very much Patrick. Everyone was saying put himself in the cell as a traitor.
But like, no matter what happens though, because when Patrick goes and if he's not a traitor, they're going to be like, oh well, he's the faithful, so it must be Joanne, or maybe even Christine will get blamed as a traitor, and they'll be like, well, who voted to keep her? Andrew and Paulie voted to give her the shield. Traitor saving a traitor.
Well,
they're going to then say, Christine, you're actually a traitor.
That was also brought up because obviously the team that won the game got to choose who got the shield.
Yeah.
Faye brought Christine's name up, and everyone just went, yep. No one else's name
was
was
mentioned.
mentioned.
Vote, everyone.
Yeah,
okay.
Christine, done.
Ben was very upset that a woman got a shield and not a man.
Well, Nick said that he voted for Christine reluctantly. Let's remember that Nick and Ben can influence other people, and yet Nick so easily influenced to choose Christine as getting the shield on the table. So maybe Nick's quite easily influenced after all. Maybe Ben and Nick are not quite as strong-minded as they first believed themselves to be. So Nick didn't have to vote for Christine, but because he was worried what the rest of the group would think if he said against Christine, he was straight away like, yes, okay, I'll vote Christine. And then later, said like, oh, I was reluctant to vote for Christine. It's like, well, Nick, if you were reluctant,
it was an open vote.
It was an open vote. You should have brought it up. Ben asked later, it's like, how was it decided? And Paulie said it was decided in a vote. And Ben was like, oh, really? And what, everyone voted? Yeah. But Ben said what? And everyone voted for it. Oh, yeah, everyone, including Nick, Ben. Ben went very quiet after that. So I think Ben and Nick have to kind of look at their own rules in this situation about whether influence is so easily carried out.
You leave Ben alone. We also learnt more about Joanne, because she hates small spaces and they didn't save her.
Did she say that? I don't remember her saying that. I remember
like
she said she was Polish.
Well, yes. Not related.
Not related at all.
Yeah, Polish.
And she's been working since she was 12. I had a paper around when I was 12.
Married, now ex-husband, but they are friends.
She said, quote, he's a good father, but we're friends. She didn't say if they don't still live together. It's like us, isn't it?
We're not friends.
No, that's true. After this, I think we're certainly not.
So, Christine got the unanimous votes, 100% of the votes
for the shield. For the shield, we must make that clear.
So she's safe. She's not going to die. So the people who could die is Joanne, Mark, Patrick. Be stupid to kill Patrick because everyone thinks he could be a traitor.
He got the second most votes.
We learned more about him as well. His life in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, he's got a Thai wife.
He went out there when he was 14 or something. He said.
He went, yeah. I still can't get that skin. I still can't get it. I cannot understand. He's so white.
Right.
But my God,
have you ever seen you on holiday?
Yes, I have, and I'm like a lobster.
Right,
even if I put a toe outside the blooming
That's what happened
sunshine.
to Patrick for 20 years.
My lily white skin, my English rose skin, as I was once described by someone. Awful.
So yeah, I think really it's between Joanne and Mark for murder.
I think Mark's in danger.
I think if they're sensible, well, it depends actually.
Well, if they're sensible, they should recruit because, I say they, it's only Paulie again because obviously we lost.
Are you surprised to see that Andrew wasn't a very good traitor? I don't feel like he kind of gave up, didn't he?
Chance. I don't think he had a chance to be a traitor.
I feel like even when the vote was a tie and they were like, right, plead your case, he was like, well, I'm out here to kill faithful. I mean, to kill Traitor. I mean, that's what I'm going to say. And then he like gave up. It's like, oh well.
No, he stumbled. If you remember, right, in his speech when it was a tie and he had to make a speech, he stumbled and he said, "I'm out to get faithful. I mean traitors." And it was like, oh,
which was an
Andrew.
honest mistake. But I do feel like he kind of just gave up and was like, I don't think he was destined to be a traitor. I don't think he liked being a traitor. I don't think he was good at being one.
He was in too early. I'm agreeing with Andrew on this. When he had his conversation with his daddy, it was daddy all along. Everyone. It was daddy all along.
I feel like they would have voted Andrew off even anyway. Like the way they were talking, they were convinced that someone was blackmailed and they were like, well, you would make a good blackmailer. He didn't do anything that made him look like a traitor. So I feel like even if he wasn't, I feel like he probably would have been recruited. But if he was still a faithful, would he have maybe fought harder? He didn't seem to fight.
He conceded.
Because he was a traitor. He kind of just gave in and was like, yeah, I am a traitor, so just get rid of me.
At the breakfast table, first thing in the morning, he did come out fighting, but then there was a good excuse for that because he was angry at what Nick and Ben had done, so it made sense to do that. It's just unfortunately, the narrative him and Paudie decided they were going to push was to get Patrick out, but then when Nick started kind of being a little bit antsy about having a finger pointed at him, Andrew and Paudie coordinated themselves and started then going for Nick, and it looked like that had been planned, and I think that was what made Andrew stand out. However, I agree with you. I think Andrew still would have had a lot of votes on this round table regardless of being a traitor or not, because pride with Nick and Ben, they wanted to show face, and I think they felt like that it was the way they could keep the team on their side was to be like, well, we'll carry on with what we had originally thought then, and we'll go for Andrew rather than do a 180 and change our opinion, because a change of opinion can be very dangerous in this game because people immediately go, well, why did you change your mind? Which is why, going back to my point earlier, when Mark made such a point in that cell about Joanna and Patrick both being traitors, and then at the round table not mentioning it, unless it got edited out, of course, not mentioning it, and then voting for Andrew. I thought that was...
And then Joanne not being like, well, why are you voting there? She didn't question it.
I feel like that should have been maybe pulled from someone. Why did Mark say that? I mean, Mark could easily write it off as in, I'm taking Andrew out this time, but I think Joanna and Patrick are strong suspicions too. Faye, and there was an audible kind of like, ooh, when Faye said, I'm voting Andrew, but I think Patrick and Andrew are both traitors. And at least Faye's laying her plan on the ground. We were there. We were making fun of Faye at the top of the show, at the top of the series. We were saying, oh, main character energy, she's only there to get airtime. But actually, her and Oyen, as I've said already, are a great team. Together, they really are putting the puzzle pieces together. Oyen has had all three people correct from the beginning.
And she kept her vote on Andrew. And at the breakfast table, she said, oh, I think it's Paudie to Faye. And Faye said, no, it's Patrick. So she's still 100% correct.
Faye reckoned there was a family tie. She was wrong with who the family tie was. She thought it was Kelly and Patrick. Yeah. But she did ask Kelly outright, to be fair. She asked her, where did you come from? Oh, is your dad
What's
Patrick?
Your name? Where'd you come from?
Yeah, she did our job for us. So Faye knows there's a family connection there somewhere, although not so relevant anymore. But it could be interesting if it came out that Paudie's son was Andrew, because then it kind of made sense that Andrew was recruited, so that could then link. I was adamant though. I was so sure, and I'm not 100% certain if they're still keeping Paudie in because they pretty much know that Paudie is a traitor.
Well, they can't because they made such a hoo-ha about Ben and Nick's plan to keep a traitor.
Yeah, but Paudie was the one who made the biggest hoo-ha about it, which is the funniest thing about it, which again Nick called Paudie out for. But I know it's really weird because Paudie isn't... I don't know, Paudie's just an enigma to me. He's just a big enigma, and I just cannot...
Well, he's winning.
He's winning bad.
They've not really brought his name up for about 2 episodes-ish now, so...
But he keeps joking as well. He keeps saying it's like, everyone keeps pointing their fingers at me and it's nice to have a night off and everyone's kind of ha 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 ha. Paudie's he's just good. He's got the golden tongue. So I hear. He's just really talented at
exactly
talking his way out in a kind of befuddled, weird old man way.
But in a weird way, still keeping all the lies in check as well. Like when he was doing the big argument with Nick, he never got confused or said anything he didn't mean to say during that. So yeah, he did good. Also lots of popcorn in the background.
I noticed there's a lot of popcorn.
Was that a little product placement in the back?
No, it was unbranded, so I don't know what
there's loads of chocolates on the table as well.
They've got trays of cakes, tea. It's the most...
What a way to live.
It's lovely. I'd love to spend time in that castle. I would just plod along, be the background character, and just drink tea and eat cakes all day. It's lovely. Absolutely adorable place to be.
Vanessa fell over at breakfast.
Vanessa did fall over.
That was lucky. That kind of took the attention off of Andrew, because like, it was his first time in a breakfast with being a traitor. He was a bit nervous. Vanessa fell over at the same time he was there, so took the heat off. So well done, Vanessa. That was really good. Not that it worked very much. What did Vanessa's she fall over? Was it the carpet?
I think
was
she just fell over. It's just one of those things. You kind of just like bump in the carpet and she slipped and she fell. Wilkin. When I watch this show and I just see him there, just sat there looking a bit confused by it all. Like, I don't... Wilkin,
he's not involved,
like,
is he?
There was no involvement. Like, when there was an argument between Andrew and Nick at the breakfast table, Wilkin was sat in the middle, and the whole time he was just sat there looking a bit like, like he didn't want to be there. He was uncomfortable.
Not really listening, not really reacting.
No. And then when Siobhan came in and like explained to them what the game was going to be, again, Wilkin looked a bit like, oh, okay. Wilkin's kind of like, he's
just floating through.
Yeah, but he has his highs when he kind of like just comes out with, I don't think Wilkin knows what's going on, in the sense that he hasn't got any idea who anyone is in...
But no one's calling him out for it. People have been calling Andrew out saying you don't actually say names. Wilkins hasn't really said names, has he? So, but he seems to be getting away with it.
Well, Patrick said to Andrew, you don't come... you seem to have all these theories, but you don't ever say these theories to me. And then Andrew was like, well, it's because I don't trust you, Patrick. So maybe Wilkin doesn't trust anyone. Maybe Wilkin wants to keep his thoughts to himself, but it's to his detriment.
Yeah,
every
normally
time
that gets
he's
called out, doesn't it? But he's not being. So
that's what I'm saying. At the round table, it's at his detriment every time, because every time he says something, everyone's kind of like, oh, okay. You need to put some input into the game. You can't just kind of like quietly... You can't be the one who writes the notes in the background and then comes out with what they think, because people won't listen to you. You need to kind of trickle feed ideas to people as you go along. That's why Oyen is so popular in the group, and her points and her thoughts count and have some strength behind them, because she's not like they've just come from nowhere. They've come from another place, and slowly they've built upon it one another. So if Wilkin's got these ideas, he needs to stop keeping them to himself, and he needs to start telling the group what they are. It's just a shame that the last 2-3 times he's kind of spoken out at the round table, his ideas have been wildly out of place where everyone else's ideas have been.
Oh, I remember his ideas.
He used to vote. He used to vote away from what the rest of the group were doing. And again, he changed his. Again, he's so Switzerland, isn't he? He's so like neutral. Like when they had to re-vote again at the round table, we had a tie between Andrew and Patrick. So there was a re-vote. This is when they did their speech, and then Wilkin, admittedly, and Joe, but Wilkin is the one I noticed the most, changed his vote. And it's like, are you really that easily moldable? You know what I mean? It's like if Nick and Nick and Ben wanted to mold someone, it could have been
the lackluster "save me, oh don't save me, that's all I've got to say" speech. That would have made me vote Andrew when I heard that.
It was a very tired, wasn't it? It was like, I tried, but I'm not trying anymore. He's
not as tough as his dad, is he? Let's be honest.
Well, Paulie's not been in his life. He used to go off to work, and Andrew would be like, "Where's Daddy?"
Andrew wanted to quit the show because he had to spend too much time with his dad now in the conclave and all sorts. He was like, "Nah."
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
too much. I can't cope. I'm just gonna go.
It's bad enough at Christmas after a few sherries, hearing his rants.
So Paul D has a really busy night ahead of him, because he not only has to pick a murder, he also has to pick a new traitor as well.
But that's a blackmail traitor as well. So they could end up being. But this is the thing. What if he goes for Nick as a blackmail traitor to recruit? Nick, because of his stubborn pride, says no and then gets murdered. Does that mean then Joanne, Patrick, and Mark are safe? And if it does mean that, does that then point more fingers of suspicion onto them? Because they're all still back at the breakfast table the next night.
And Nick's gone. But then how would they explain that? They'd know that he said no to a blackmail if he's gone.
So they know he was faithful.
I think what Pauldy should do, here's a plan.
Do it.
Christine's got the shield, so it's between Joanne and Mark.
And Patrick.
Yeah, but everyone thinks he's a traitor, so there's no point killing Patrick.
Okay.
So I would blackmail Mark.
Oh, well, one of the
him
three.
as a traitor. Kill Joanne, unfortunately. I don't want to kill Joanne. If I was Pauldy, this is what I would do. I think that's a clever thing, because Mark would be quite a safe person to turn into a traitor. They could put the blame onto Patrick, get him out. Joanne's gone. And then we're dwindling down. Then,
I don't disagree with you. I think Mark needs to be recruited.
He needs to, if Mark either needs to be recruited, but if he doesn't go down that way, then kill Mark.
A funny way, though, is that I think that killing Patrick might be a bit of a sly tactic because everyone knows, everyone seems to want to vote for him. So what if the traitors kind of say, well, we're just going to get rid of him, and kind of almost to smite the group, almost to like make fun of them, point at them and go, ha ha, I killed them before you were able to get rid of him.
But who would that point the blame to? Would that point blame
Nick and Ben?
What do you think?
Yep. That's what I think anyway.
Who would you recruit then?
That's what I said, Mark.
You would recruit Mark.
Mark to recruit, but I'd murder Patrick. It might put some blame on Joe as well, though, which will be a bit of a shame, but I think it would point more toward Ben and Nick, for me anyway.
Who do you think he's going to recruit? Do you think he was going to go the
we'll
Nick
recruit
route?
someone ridiculous. No, he won't. I think he might recruit Patrick. Well,
that'd be ridiculous because he would then go on the next episode.
Exactly. So again, on the other flip side of the coin... That's
dangerous though, because Patrick could be one of those traitors where he's like, I know you've recruited me to get me killed, so I'm going to mess up your game before I go. So that's a dangerous game.
Or Patrick might think
he's a wild cannon.
Patrick might think he's sly enough and wily enough to be able to stay in the game. Don't forget man's ego. You know what men's egos are like? We are them. We think we can do anything and achieve anything we want.
What about getting someone like Christine or Amy, someone random like that, who's like a bit faithfully?
No, I don't think so.
Faye could do it. I think she could.
If we're going for someone, to be fair, all the women are great players in this game. Let's be honest. The men think they're good players, but the women are the good players.
As always.
And I think if they wanted to go for a good game player, Oyen. Because Oyen's the one who seems to have the stats and the facts and the receipts behind her.
It's so dangerous because you never know how they act when they suddenly become traitor. Like obviously, like Andrew just didn't like doing it, so you don't know how anyone's going to react when they're suddenly a traitor halfway through. Pauldy, been there since the beginning, he knows how to.
Pauldy's old school.
Yeah, he knows the ropes, so he's not fazed by any of it. But at this point in the game, turning into a traitor, you kind of some contestants who you think, oh, they'll be really good. I think they're a bit too in the game as faithful that they can't really do the transition. Whereas I guess Nick is so cocky that he probably could. Transition.
Oh no, Nick! Oh, 100%.
He could probably transition quite safely as a traitor.
If Nick accepted to be a traitor the second time round, Nick would relish it. Nick just, to quote Pauldy, Nick just wants to be liked. And now the group are beginning to turn against Nick. I think Nick's gonna like sod it. I'm gonna go to be a traitor now. The group don't like me anymore. I'm gonna be a traitor and kill them.
I don't think he'd struggle the same way as Andrew clearly struggled. So there's that safe one. I think Faye actually is the same. I think she would transition into a traitor quite well, whereas Oyen, she's quite like a recluse, isn't she? Like people say she's quite introvert. Maybe she wouldn't transition into it very well.
I don't know. I think Oyen's a sneaky, could be sneaky if she wanted to be. If you wanted to get rid of someone by recruitment, Patrick or Wilkin, because they will both be easy to out the group. If you want someone who will be a good, strong, faithful with you, Oyen, Mark, traitor with you, Oyen, Mark, and Nick. And if you just wanted, for the giggles, bring in Christine.
I don't think Mark would be very good, and I don't think Oyen would.
I think Mark will be better. I think give Mark a chance. I think he would be because he's got the trust of the group on his side.
Yeah, but so did Andrew. Look how quickly that turned.
True. But then Andrew had that, he couldn't shake that accusation from the last episode. And it was Daddy all along. You cannot emphasize that point along. It was Daddy along.
Right. So if people want to get in touch with us with their thoughts and theories.
Yes. Go to our Linktree, linktr.ee/faithful2. And on there, you've got all the links to our Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any of your favourite podcast apps. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell. Don't forget, we're going for 1,000. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or watching us on Spotify or YouTube, you can comment underneath the video with your thoughts and feelings. You can also get in touch with us by direct message on Instagram and TikTok, or just comment on any of the videos that we post throughout the week. And if you like the podcast, don't forget you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful or coff.ee/faithful. And on there you can give us £5, which is the equivalent of a solid wooden gold block.
Lovely. So we'll see you all tomorrow for the next episode. Until then, stay faithful.